Hey everyone, Maury from Traveling Solo. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about entertainment and technology while on the road. Perhaps you are an RVer or a camper who likes to get out and unplug from the world. That's not me. I like to have my technology and my gadgets with me when I'm out. Even if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'd like something to keep myself occupied. If I'm sitting in a parking lot at a casino in the middle of the night, there's only so much you can do there. I'm horrible about going to bed on time, so I will typically put on a movie or something like that. Today I'd like to walk you through how I have myself set up for while I'm traveling, and that will include a brief overview of my Apple TV and my hotspot, the television that came in the van, along with a couple of other goodies to keep myself running. So let's take a look. So I've talked a little bit about this before, that in the van I have made some changes, and those changes include to the technology. So you see that we have the TV that came with the Active, and you may also notice that this is an Apple TV home screen, and you would be right. So up in here I have removed the Blu-ray player. I found that I was not using the Blu-ray player to begin with. And I had, a stack of movies in here, and I guess I could have taken them out of the cases and put them into a book, a folder for discs. But the way that it was positioned, the Blu-ray, when you opened the drawer, would hit the frame of the cabinet here. I didn't want to have to elevate it. It took up quite a bit of room also, where you'll notice that the Apple TV definitely does not. So this is a Gen 3 Apple TV. It is perfect for this size television. This is a 720p LCD TV, 24-inch, that came in the van. And so this is a perfect match for it. So I removed the Blu-ray player. I ran the wiring for it into the cabinet. Now behind this door, and I'm not going to pull it down right now, but this door, when you move the television, opens up. Behind it, you'll see a few things, a couple of power outlets. And you'll also see up in the top right a little device with some lights on it. That is actually an HDMI splitter. That services the rest of the van, such as this port here, this HDMI output, as well as the one that's on the outside of the van, from this device. So the video output from this goes into the HDMI splitter, which is then distributed to all of the devices in the van, one of which is this television coming out of this output here. So this runs into the TV and gives us a display. If I plugged in this television over here, it would have the same display. So there are a few reasons that I did this. One was what I said before, space savings. One was for the ability to have some better technology in the van, and I'll show you why. So here we have my iPad, the same one that I do my video editing on and email and everything else. The Apple TV has the ability to AirPlay directly to it without the requirement of Wi-Fi. So this iPad will actually connect directly to my Apple TV and stream the screen named ProMaster. And now you see that I have my screen just like on the iPad. So we'll go back to Prime. I actually have a video that I've downloaded, or that I purchased. So we're doing screen mirroring right now, so it's going to just mirror directly to the Apple TV. So it took a minute for it to queue up, but now it is showing this episode of Chopped on the television. Fast forward, and you'll notice that it's a nice crisp display. So that's one of your options. You can stream content directly from your device to the Apple TV and watch it. So if you're laying in the back on the bed with your iPad, you can stream a movie to it. There are some limitations. YouTube seems to not cooperate with that when you're doing direct streaming. However, if you have all of your devices connected to the same Wi-Fi network, then it will work. And that brings us to the next configuration, or the next piece of this configuration. Okay, so here are my Apple TV settings, and you'll see that it's connected to a Verizon MiFi, which is my Jetpack right here. This is a 6620. It's a couple revisions old, but it works just fine. Good battery life, 4G, etc., etc. So it is connected to the Jetpack's Wi-Fi, local Wi-Fi network. We will also, on the iPad, connect to it. So now we have both of these devices on the same Wi-Fi network, and the Jetpack is servicing the internet connection for both of them. So in this configuration, the Jetpack will actually function as a basic Wi-Fi router, so that you don't need a separate Wi-Fi router connected. If you're using a hotspot in your van, this can handle the internal network routing, as long as you're not being too demanding. If you're not trying to do large file transfers from one computer to another, it would do it, just not very well. It's not meant for that. It is allowing the iPad to talk to the Apple TV over the local Wi-Fi now. And that being said, YouTube will now cooperate. So I'm streaming the video over the Jetpack, and I'm going to select the AirPlay device, ProMaster, and begins playing the video. And this is all happening over the Jetpack, being streamed to the Apple TV. Now, we don't have to do it that way, because the Apple TV is also connected to the Jetpack. So why don't we just stream directly to it? Because we can. We'll select that. We'll go to YouTube, and here we are. So now we have live streaming YouTube directly from the Apple TV without playing anything from the iPad. I could also connect my MacBook Pro in the same fashion.
How's it going, guys? My name is Tavares, and today we're starting the Ferrari build, and it's looking.
So this is streaming over the Jetpack directly to the Apple TV. I could also stream directly from the iPad if I had local content or shows that I had downloaded on Prime, for instance, like I did previously. You can also stream from a laptop. You can mirror your display if you're working. If you'd like to sit in the captain's chair and look at a larger screen, that's fine too. It's just a nice, handy little setup. It saves a lot of room, and you have a lot of options for how to use it. The other nice thing too is the remote for the Apple TV is not reliant on line of sight. It's not an infrared remote anymore. So even if it is not able to see the Apple TV when you're laying in bed, because the Apple TV is in the cabinet, it will still operate sight unseen.
Perfect, but only if you ignore all of this. I think.
So if you're back in the bed and you decide that you're going to play or pause, now I don't have the TV flipped around, but
it might take a while.
Clearly it's playing. So just a quick summary. We have the 24-inch TV that came with the Hymeractive. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, there is a USB port on the back of the television. If you load some MP4 movie files on a USB stick, you can plug it directly into the television and access it via menu to play those movies on the TV itself. So that's a nice feature on its own. But together we have the TV that came in the van. This is a 3rd gen Apple TV remote for the television. iPad for streaming, local content, internet content, Jetpack for internet connectivity, and interior Wi-Fi network without a Wi-Fi router, because this is operating as the Wi-Fi router. Side note, for streaming you obviously want to make sure that you have the correct data plan. And there you have it. It's a nice clean setup, very functional, lots of options. You lose the ability to play movies from discs, but frankly, who's doing that anymore? I hope this was helpful or interesting. If you have any specific questions about how I set it up or how I configured it, leave your question in the comments below and I will respond to you directly. Until next time, have a great day.